Hey, how's it going? Last week I took my family and my microphones on a camping trip. Usually when we go travelling I try to get a few audio photographs by just setting my microphones up and recording the girls playing, recording whatever's happening. And I can use that just as a memory really, or sometimes I use it in my music. Also, I just got a new thread adapter, so now I can put my Blimp onto a microphone stand instead of being on that stupid block of wood that it sits on. So on the first night I set up the microphones just right outside the tent and getting the wind basically from this tree above the tent. There's a lake in front of us there, and as soon as the sun started to set, then there was like maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 frogs that would call to each other, spread out around the lake. So they give us real cool image of just the frogs calling back and forward. Even from the tent it wasn't that obvious. The distance between them was just sort of like distant frogs, but it still worked out nicely. It was handy. I'd left the recorder inside but the microphone's outside, so we could just press record and then sleep and then wake up and make sure it was all okay again and still going nicely. And there was also a dog that was just running about and barking, and there's a nice reverb from the dog barking, so you can get it. I got it running all over the place. Then I was able to record. It wasn't really a dawn course, but just whenever the sun started coming up, then there was a lot more activity from different birds. And you can hear there was some pigeons calling and a couple of parrots were flying around as well. And then on the next night I decided to set up the microphones closer to the water, the edge of the water, and get a nicer image of the frogs. Usually in the nighttime all around here it's just full of whatever, crickets and insects or whatever they are, just beeping the whole time. But there was nothing. It was just frogs, just like these 3 or 4 frogs calling out to each other and giving a nice little conversation. Not sure what they were talking about. On the second day we went for a trek. I was surprised at how little animal activity there was. There was very few birds that you could hear calling all the time. The last forest I went to was Parque das Neblinas, and it was full of wildlife and just singing and shouting at me the whole time. But this time it was so quiet, and I got my Tascam, set up a little drop rig. I've had this for maybe, I don't know, nearly 15 years now. I actually recorded my whole first album with this as the microphone. It's handy just for leaving as a drop rig. I don't need to just worry about it. I can leave it sitting, hanging on a tree, leave it recording. There was one bird that I could make out that had an interesting call. I wanted to try and record it. So that was the main activity of the drop rig. And luckily enough, I got it. So there's a white-rimmed warbler, that's what it's called. I'm not a bird expert, but luckily I have an app that you can just use to play your audio files into, and it tells you the bird and has a good guess at what the bird is. So that's pretty nice, and I was able to use that app to find out what this bird was. So I was trying to get it, that distant call of it with the big dip in pitch. But then also the bird ended up coming up right beside my drop rig. You can hear it jumping around the leaves and then just chirping right beside the recorder. And that was about the height of it, I think, but it was a nice trip, nice camping. Happy to get those frogs. They were a pretty sweet sound. I'll see if I get some use out of them someday. Anyway, good luck.